Hi, thank you for tuning in for Q&A. My name is Sarah Archer, and today I'm talking with Bill Sullivan, who's joined us via Zoom all the way from Denver, Colorado. Bill has moved into an exciting new role as the VP of Product Strategy and Management. So, Bill, congratulations on your new position, and thank you for being on our show.
Nice to be with you, Sarah.
So, Bill, we're going to talk about automation today. And if you're thinking about an automation project, where do you start?
You know, a lot of our customers, and we've seen this across industries, where a lot of manufacturing and/or distribution centers will have automation solutions. It could be machines at the end of a production line that are creating product, like palletizers and things like that. It might be at the end of a production line. They may have conveyance systems, pick-to-light systems, and one of the key parts of those automation systems that have in common are two things. You know, one is they're all moving and transforming product that companies want to track. The second thing is those solutions need to be integrated into the ERP. And so if you're thinking about automation, you kind of think about, are there systems out in your manufacturing environments, in your distribution environments that you would like to integrate into your ERP? And that's where we actually help our customers do that integration.
Where can automation best be used?
So we see automation being used a lot in order fulfillment. Some examples, I mentioned conveyance systems, could be pick-to-light systems, could be automated storage and retrieval systems. So just kind of speeding up and making more accurate the fulfillment of orders as they're going out the door to customers. And we see that as a primary focus in distribution centers where automation is adopted. Another area that is maybe even a larger opportunity for customers is in manufacturing, where they want to automate the completion of product as it's being created off of workstations, work centers where manufacturing is occurring. So automating the completion of that, it might be backflushing materials and tracking those materials into the finished good being wrapped and palletized. So we can actually update the ERP system real time by integrating into those different manufacturing work centers, if you will.
Bill, can you share some examples of what automation is and the value that automation investment could bring to your business?
One example that we've seen, I'll give some customer examples of adopting automation. So one of our customers makes steel cans for lots of different industries. They make literally millions of steel cans 7 days a week, almost 365 days a year. And they found a lot of value in automating the completion process as those steel cans got packed and they got stacked onto pallets and license plates. They basically needed a way to just automatically show that inventory in their ERP, so then they could do the next step of putting that away and getting people to come over to the end of that production line and label that and put that away. Well, instead of having folks stationed there waiting for that to happen and putting the labels on, they automated it. We have labels being affixed automatically by the machine. We're actually talking to the machines as they're creating those steel cans and the pallets of those. We create that material, that finished good material, in their ERP, and all that's automated. So just kind of a great example of taking a process, reducing the need to have people stationed at the end of a production line and doing the scanning. We actually have that happening automatically.
Since our name is RF Smart, we get a lot of questions around RFID. What trends are we seeing around companies adopting RFID for tracking inventory?
So RFID has been a technology that's been around for quite some time, for decades actually, and we do have a lot of customers who would look at RFID, and it's a really cool technology. We have some customers adopting that, and we actually use our automation module to help customers integrate RFID with their ERP and track inventory throughout their supply chain. RFID is kind of interesting automation use case because it does require, and it can, RFID tags obviously, but it competes with traditional barcode labeling. Traditional barcodes are very cheap, they're very inexpensive, and they're just heavily used. And a lot of times, especially like distribution centers, a lot of product comes in, it's already labeled. So companies just leverage those labels as they are. So it really comes down to the use case and the business case. So I kind of use that example of, do you want the sports car or do you want the minivan? Which one's going to fit best? Well, everybody wants a sports car. Most people do anyway. But, the minivan, it's got a lot of use cases that work pretty well. If you need to haul stuff home from Home Depot, if you need 16 cup holders in your car, maybe those are extreme examples. But if you want to go on a trip to Yellowstone with your family and 2 dogs, the minivan's a great tool. So same thing happens with RFID and barcode labels. We've got a lot of companies look at RFID, but when they look at the cost associated with the equipment, with the tags that go on, that go on the product or the pallets, the costs certainly go up. So you want to make sure you got a good use case for RFID. And there's a lot of great use cases for RFID. Even with those tags now, they've gotten cheaper and cheaper over time. There still is that extra cost of, maybe it's 7-8 cents per tag. Doesn't sound like much, but compared to a barcode label, it can add up depending on your volume. So some use cases, though, that have been really, pretty successful use cases that we've seen just in the last year or two. We've got one customer in a manufacturing environment that uses RFID to tag an engine, and as it goes down a production line, we basically track the status of that work order and tracking it across routing steps in the manufacturing process. So now only can they see real time where is that engine in the manufacturing line, but how long that engine went into a particular work center and when it exited. So that's great information to have, and all that's automated using RFID. Another great example is a company using RFID as product comes up to a work center. We read the RFID tag, and we can interrogate what that product is. Is it left-handed? Is it right-handed? Example might be a door, and it goes into the machine, and then the machine has a special set of instructions based on the information on that tag as to what is going to be done to that particular product. So kind of marrying RFID with automation is a great use case in that perspective. Another one is a food manufacturer. They have a kind of a messy environment, a lot of fluids and things like that as they're tracking their product. It's kind of hard to affix barcode labels in their particular environment. So RFID tags are a great way to track bins and totes as it goes through the manufacturing process. We're using RFID. That's another great use case where barcode labels are basically difficult to read or use in a particular environment. Then maybe the last one I'd highlight, electronics distributors. You got some more expensive value type of product that you want to track that might be serialized. So as product comes in, if you can interrogate all those RFID tags that are associated with the product and the serial numbers, you could really save a lot of time of unpacking, validating all the product that came in, and then repacking things. If you could do that with RFID, saves just a ton of time from a material handling perspective. So those are basically 4 quick examples of where RFID could be used, and you're getting a very good business case and a return on investment with the application of RFID.
Well, Bill, thank you so much. That's very great information. I certainly learned a lot, but thank you for your time today. As always, to those of you who are watching, if you've got questions, you can email them at info@rfsmart.com. Thanks again, Bill, and thanks to those of you watching, and we'll see you again soon.